The Beretta Model 81 Cheetah is the sidearm Tony Montana grips tight in Scarface, a compact piece that screams his early days clawing up Miami's criminal ladder. This semi-auto pistol, chambered in .32 ACP, packs a 12-round mag plenty for close-range chaos. With a 3.82-inch barrel and a total length of 6.77 inches, it's built for concealment. The muzzle velocity of the Beretta 81 varies significantly depending on the ammunition used. While some sources list a general muzzle velocity range of 800 to 950 feet per second, actual chronographed results from a Beretta 81 show a wider range. For instance, a 73-grain FMJ round from S&B achieved a mean velocity of 1047 feet per second, which was very close to its advertised velocity of 1043 feet per second. Another test found a 73-grain FMJ from Fiocchi had a mean velocity of 988 feet per second, slightly below its advertised 1,000 feet per second. The Beretta 81 has got a 50-meter effective range of solid stopping power when things get dicey. In Scarface, the Cheetah's there for Tony's wild ride, like the sketchy Sunray Motel deal with Hector the Toad, where a chainsaw nearly upstages everything. Later, Tony slaps a suppressor on it for some low-key wet work. At the Babylon Club, the Cheetah matches his loud suits and louder attitude, perfect for a guy hustling his way from nobody to kingpin wannabe. This isn't just a gun, it's Tony's grit, his ambition, his early hustle before he started swinging bigger iron. Today, a real Beretta 81 is a collector's gem. Per recent stats, it is going for an average $300 for a used piece. Want a piece of movie history? You definitely can't come across one without spending a fortune. The Cheetah is not just metal, it's Tony Montana's climb to power in steel form. Want to dive into more Scarface firepower? Stick around. The Beretta M95-1 Brigadier is a beast of a pistol that hits hard in Scarface, stepping up from Tony Montana's early days Cheetah with serious firepower for the film's bloodiest moments. Chambered in 9.19mm Parabellum, this semi-auto holds an 8-round mag, enough to keep you in the fight without losing control. Its 4.9-inch barrel gives it an 8.1-inch overall length, and at 1.9 pounds it's got a solid no-nonsense feel. Push a round out at 1,181 feet per second, and you're looking at a 50-meter effective range of plenty of punch for up-close chaos. This velocity is achieved when firing the 9.19mm Parabellum cartridge from the standard barrel length of 4.9 inches. In Scarface, the M951 shows up in the hands of Colombian goons during the Sunray Motel chainsaw scene, where Tony's deal with Hector the Toad goes south fast. That pistol's presence dials up the stakes, screaming danger as betrayal and blood hit the fan. Later, Tony and Manny slap suppressors on their M951s to take out Frank Lopez, a cold, calculated move that marks Tony's climb from street hustler to ruthless kingpin. This gun's versatility, lethal with or without a can, mirrors Tony's own shift from scrappy survivor to a guy calling the shots. A real Beretta M951 discontinued and now a collector's prize, goes for $400 to $700 on the used market, depending on how well it's been kept. Scarface prop versions? Good luck, those are so rare they're practically unicorns, with no clear auction prices because they almost never hit the block. The M951 isn't just steel, it's a piece of Tony's brutal rise, from dodging ambushes to building an empire. And let's talk more firepower. The Colt Python. The Colt Python is an undoubted legend in Scarface, a powerhouse revolver that Tony Montana's crew wields when things get real. The muzzle velocity of a Colt Python depends on the specific ammunition used and the barrel length. For a 6-inch barrel, the average velocity for a .357 Magnum load using a 158-grain Hornady XTP bullet is 1,275 feet per second. Another Magnum load, with a 125-grain Federal JHP bullet, achieves an average velocity of 1,502 feet per second from the same 6-inch barrel. A .38 special load with a 148-grain Black Hills wad cutter averages 750 feet per second from a 6-inch barrel. The muzzle velocity can vary significantly based on the bullet weight, powder charge, and barrel length, with longer barrels generally producing higher velocities. One source notes a muzzle velocity range of 1,400 feet per second to 1,450 feet per second for the .357 Magnum cartridge in the Python. With a barrel length of 4 to 8 inches and pillar and it weighs about 2.4 pounds. It's a hefty but balanced piece. The Python's got a 75-meter effective range, perfect for precision shots in desperate firefights. In Scarface, Chi-Chi grips a Python during a clutch rescue mission. This proves its reliability when Tony's in deep trouble. In the final shootout, Tony's crew unloads with Pythons as Sosa's assassins storm the mansion, each 6-round blast a defiant last stand. This revolver's raw power fits the loyalty and chaos of Tony's inner circle, a stark contrast to the slick Berettas from earlier in the film. It's the iron of Tony's doomed empire, all grit and glory. A real Colt Python, a collector's dream for its craftsmanship, runs $1,000 to $2,000 on the used market. Want a Scarface vibe credit, prop replica? Airsoft or inoperative versions go for $100 to $300. The Smith & Wesson Model 36 Chief Special is a snub-nosed revolver that brings raw, personal heat to Scarface, perfect for the film's gut-punch close-quarters moments. Chambered in .38 Special, this 5-shot wheel gun delivers solid stopping power with a muzzle velocity of about 940 feet per second. Its stubby 1.8 to 3-inch barrel keeps the overall length at 6.3 inches, and at just 1.25 pounds, it's a dream for concealed carry. With a 25 to 50 meter effective range, the Model 36 is built for tight spots where every round has to count. In Scarface, this revolver lands in the hands of Gina, Tony's sister, during that brutal scene where she turns it on him in his own office. A heartbreaking betrayal driven by Tony's paranoid grip on everyone around him. You'll also spot the Chief Special with undercover cops and that sleazy detective Mel Bernstein, its compact frame perfect for staying low-key in Miami's shady underworld. Unlike the booming Colt Python or Tony's slick Berettas, the Model 36 carries the weight of personal stakes, a quiet threat signaling the cracks in Tony's empire. A real Smith & Wesson Model 36 is a collector's classic, fetching $400 to $800 on the used market. The Colt M1911A1 is a timeless pistol that brings gritty reliability to Scarface, wielded by those navigating Tony Montana's dangerous world. Chambered in .45 ACP, this semi-automatic handgun holds a 7+1 round magazine. For a .45 ACP cartridge in a 1911A1, the muzzle velocity is around 1,017 feet per second, as demonstrated by a study using 160-grain Corbon DPX ammunition. Its 5-inch barrel and 8.5-inch overall length weigh 2.4 pounds, balancing heft and control. With a 50-meter effective range, the M1911A1 is ideal for tight space combat, where precision meets brute force. In Scarface, Lopez's men, Ernie and Nick the Pig, carry the M1911A1, their trusted sidearms reflecting their loyalty in Frank Lopez's crumbling empire. Suppressed versions appear with assassins, adding stealth to their deadly missions, a stark contrast to the loud chaos of Tony's later battles. Unlike the flashy Colt Python or the compact Smith & Wesson Model 36, the M1911A1 embodies the old-school grit of Miami's underworld, bridging the gap between Tony's early Beretta days and his explosive final stand. A real Colt M1911A1, a collector's staple, sells for $800 depending on condition and vintage. Authentic Scarface prop suppressors, rare and coveted, have fetched $5,000 or more at auction, prized for their cinematic legacy. The M1911A1 isn't just a gun, it's a symbol of the loyalty and betrayal swirling around Tony's rise and fall. The MAC-10 is a straight-up beast in Scarface, a compact submachine gun that sprays lead like nobody's business, perfectly capturing the wild, untamed violence of Tony Montana's Miami underworld. This thing's a firecracker, chambered in either live ACP or 9mm, and it's got a 32-round magazine that lets you unload hell in a hurry. With a cyclic rate of about 1,090 rounds per minute for a .45 ACP and an average rate of 1,350 rounds per minute for 9mm version, it's like holding a thunderstorm in your hands. The barrel's a stubby 5.75 inches, stretching the whole package to 10.5 inches long, and it tips the scales at 6.2 pounds, hefty enough to feel serious but light enough to maneuver when things get hairy. For the .45 ACP version, you're pushing rounds out at 919 feet per second, with a 100-meter effective range that makes it deadly in a street fight. Throw a suppressor on there, and the MAC-10 turns into a stealthy reaper, blending quiet precision with absolute devastation. In Scarface, this gun's a show stealer. Picture the Sunray Motel, where Colombian goons whip out MAC-10s during that infamous chainsaw scene. Its relentless chatter amps up the panic as Tony's drug deal goes from sketchy to straight-up nightmare. Then you've got Manny, cool as ice, rocking a suppressed MAC-10 to pull Tony out of a jam in a high-stakes rescue, those muffled bursts cutting through the chaos like a knife. And let's not forget the Babylon Club shootout, pure pandemonium, with MAC-10 spraying rounds in a blaze of glory, marking the moment Tony's world shifts from hustling to all-out war. Unlike the pinpoint precision of his Berettas or the old-school swagger of the Colt M1911A1, the MAC-10 is raw, unfiltered mayhem, a perfect match for the escalating insanity as Tony's empire starts to teeter on the brink. Now, getting your hands on a real, full-auto MAC-10? That's a tall order. These are heavily restricted under US law, so you're looking at $15,000 for a transferable pre-1986 model, and that's if you can even find one. The IMI Uzi, chambered in 9x1 19mm, is a Scarface legend, embodying the raw, unfiltered violence of Tony Montana's 1980s Miami empire. Designed by Uziel Gal for the Israeli military, this submachine gun is a compact beast with a 10.2-inch barrel and an 18.5-inch overall length when its stock is folded. At 7.7 pounds, it's light enough to maneuver, but heavy enough to feel like a serious tool of destruction. Packing a 25 to 32 round magazine, the Uzi unleashes 600 rounds per minute at a muzzle velocity of 1,312 feet per second, with an effective range of 200 meters, perfect for the up-close mayhem that defines Scarface. In the film, Sosa's assassins brandish Uzis during the intense Babylon Club ambush, transforming a flashy night out into a deadly firefight as bullets tear through the crowd. In the iconic final battle at Tony's mansion, Chi-Chi grips an Uzi, desperately firing to hold off the swarm of attackers, while Tony himself briefly handles one in the chaos. Owning a real, fully automatic Uzi isn't cheap, except to pay $15,000 due to strict US firearm laws. For fans wanting that Scarface aesthetic, non-firing or airsoft replicas cost between $300–$600, capturing the Uzi's boxy, menacing look. Next, we'll explore the weapon that Tony Montana calls his little friend, the one that cements his legacy in the film's explosive finale. The Colt AR-15/M16A1 with the M203 grenade launcher, forever immortalized as Tony Montana's little friend, is the heart-pounding centerpiece of Scarface's explosive finale. Chambered in 5.56 by 45mm NATO for the rifle and 40mm for the grenade launcher, this beast carries a 30-round magazine and churns out 995 rounds per minute. With a 20-inch barrel and a 39-inch overall length, it weighs a manageable 7.5 pounds, delivering a blistering muzzle velocity of 3,110 feet per second. The rifle's effective range stretches to 550 meters, while the grenade launcher can lob rounds up to 350 meters, though in Scarface it's all about close-range chaos. This is the gun Tony wields in the film's iconic climax, standing atop his mansion's staircase, snarling, "Say hello to my little friend," as he unleashes a barrage on Sosa's army. Fun fact, the M203 launcher was a non-functional prop, and the rifle fired blanks, but that didn't dim the scene's raw intensity. In the story, this weapon marks Tony's last stand, a symbol of his defiant, doomed empire as he fights to the bitter end. In the real world, a fully automatic transferable M16A1 is a rare collector's item, fetching $20,000 or more due to stringent US regulations. A semi-automatic AR-15, the civilian cousin, is far more affordable, ranging from $800 to $500, but the AR-15/M203 steals the show, cementing Tony's legend. Next, we'll dive into another piece of Scarface's arsenal, keeping the Miami heat turned up, the FN/FAL 50.00. This Belgian-designed firearm carries a 20-round magazine and fires at 650 to 700 rounds per minute. With a 21-inch barrel and a weight of about 9.5 pounds, it's a hefty piece, boasting a muzzle velocity exceeding 2,700 feet per second and a maximum range of 1,000 meters. In Scarface, it appears in the hands of Alejandro Sosa's assassins during two pivotal moments: the brutal hotel ambush where Tony's deal goes south, and the climactic mansion battle where Sosa's forces storm Tony's empire. These rifles underscore the overwhelming firepower aimed at taking Tony down. In the real world, a semi-automatic FN/FAL can be yours for around $1,600, though fully automatic versions are tightly restricted and far pricier. Pricing for rare, screen-used Scarface props is less documented, but their value would likely soar among collectors due to the film's cult status. The FN/FAL connects the Uzi's rapid-fire mayhem and the AR-15/iconic bravado, amplifying the escalating violence of Sosa's vendetta against Tony. Next up, we'll explore another weapon from Scarface's arsenal that fuels the film's relentless energy: HK-93A3, chambered in 5.56 by 45mm NATO, is a semi-automatic rifle that makes a subtle but striking appearance in Scarface, adding depth to Tony Montana's arsenal. Built by Heckler & Koch, this sleek firearm holds a 25 to 40 round magazine and delivers rounds at a muzzle velocity of about 3,000 feet per second, with an effective range of 500 meters. Sporting a 16.5-inch barrel and an overall length of 36.8 inches, it weighs 8.4 pounds, balancing portability with firepower. In Scarface, the HK-93A3 shines in the final mansion battle, nestled in Tony's weapon case as he gears up for his last stand. While Tony's little friend, the AR-15/M203, steals the spotlight, the HK-93A3's presence in the case hints at his preparedness, a quiet testament to his paranoia and power before Sosa's assassins overwhelm him. In the real world, an HK-93A3 commands $3,000, reflecting its quality and collector appeal, though fully automatic versions are rare and heavily regulated. Replicas are scarce, making authentic pieces a prized find for Scarface fans. The HK-93A3 bridges the raw aggression of the FN/FAL ace used by Sosa's hitmen, and the iconic flair of Tony's M203-equipped AR-15, rounding out the film's portrait of escalating violence. Next, we'll dive into another weapon from Scarface's deadly collection to keep the Miami chaos alive: Valmet M82A. The Valmet M82A, a bullpup rifle, is a rare gem in Scarface that adds a futuristic edge to Tony Montana's arsenal. Designed by Finland's Valmet, this compact rifle uses a 30-round magazine and fires rounds at around 3,000 feet per second, with an effective range of 400 meters. Its 16.5-inch barrel and short 28-inch overall length make it a sleek 7.3 pounds, perfect for maneuverability in tight spaces. In Scarface, the M82A hangs in Tony's gun case during the iconic mansion finale, a silent but stylish backup to his little friend. Though it's never fired on screen, its presence in the case reflects Tony's obsession with power and preparedness as Sosa's assassins close in. The bullpup design, with the action behind the trigger, gives it a distinctive, almost sci-fi look that stands out among the film's more conventional firepower. In the real world, a Valmet M82A is a collector's prize, costing $4,000 due to its rarity and unique design. Replicas are nearly non-existent, making authentic pieces a holy grail for Scarface enthusiasts. Next, we'll uncover another piece of Scarface's deadly collection to keep the Miami heat blazing. Remington 877. The Remington 870, a 12-gauge pump-action shotgun, brings raw, close-range devastation to Scarface's explosive climax. This American classic holds a 4 to 8 shell tube magazine, typically loaded with buckshot for a punishing spread, effective up to 40 to 50 meters. With barrel lengths ranging from 18 to 28 inches and an overall length around 38 inches, it weighs a solid 7 pounds. Muzzle velocity varies by load, hitting 1,200 to 1,500 feet per second, making it a brutal tool for short-range encounters. In Scarface, Sosa's assassins wield the Remington 870 during the final assault on Tony Montana's mansion, storming through the opulent halls with shotguns blasting. The 870's thunderous presence amplifies the chaos as Tony, armed with his little friend, faces the overwhelming onslaught, marking the end of his empire in a hail of gunfire. In the real world, a Remington 870 is a steal at $300 to $600, accessible for hunters, sport shooters, and collectors alike. Sawed-off versions, like those favored by cinematic bad guys, fetch higher prices due to customization and legal restrictions. The 870's role in Scarface connects the sleek, futuristic Valmet M82A in Tony's gun case to the film's relentless violence, rounding out the arsenal with gritty, in-your-face power. Zabala double-barreled shotgun, Lupara. The Zabala double-barreled shotgun, known as the Lupara, is a 12-gauge side-by-side shotgun that delivers one of Scarface's most chilling moments. This sawed-off beast holds just 2 shells, perfect for devastating buckshot blasts at close range, effective from 20 to 40 meters. With its barrels cut down to around 18 inches, the Lupara is compact, weighing about 6 pounds, making it a lightweight but lethal tool. In Scarface, it's wielded by the Skull, Sosa's silent, cold-blooded assassin, during the shocking execution of Tony Montana in the mansion's final moments. As Tony falls, riddled with bullets from the Remington 870s and others, the Skull steps forward, Lupara in hand, and delivers the fatal shot, a gut-punch moment that ends Tony's reign with brutal finality. The Lupara's raw simplicity and menacing look make it the perfect weapon for this iconic scene. In the real world, a double-barreled Zabala shotgun cost $500 to $1,000, affordable for its classic design and hunting roots. Lupara ties the Remington 870's close-quarters chaos to the film's narrative arc, sealing Tony's fate with a weapon as ruthless as his world. We've covered the Uzi's rapid fire, the AR-15/M2003's legend, the FNFNROL's power, the HK93A3, and Valmet's sleek presence, and now the shotgun's devastating punches. You enjoyed this Scarface gun collection? Hit that like button and subscribe for more.